How's it? Morning. Hey man, let me tell you, just this might be quite a long one, so bear with me. I don't even know where to begin. Let me start here. Let me start really upsetting some people. Yesterday I went and it was workers' day off, another one. Went out, ended up at a coffee shop on my own. Bumped into a bunch of people that I know through motorcycling. And I got to say, I'm going to catch flack now. I got to say, yesterday you made me embarrassed. You embarrassed me to be a white heterosexual male in South Africa. Some of you there. And I'll tell you why. You know, the conversation, because one or two guys had seen the videos that I'd made here up the road in Hillbrow. And started talking about it. And I started showing some of the videos to the guys sitting there. And let me tell you something. I'm not even going to repeat some of the comments here. But let me tell you something, bro. I'm starting to understand the problem in this country. You know, I'm really starting to understand why black people are upset. You know, not that I don't understand. I already understood. But yesterday you made me really understand, bruh. And you know what? You should go and have a long, hard look at yourself, but because there's something wrong with you, bro. You know, and you know what I'm talking about. I can't even repeat the things you said, yeah. You know? But really, you know, you shouldn't even be classed as a human being, but honestly, you know. And it's when I hear things like that, you know, that I start really questioning my ethnicity and my culture. You know, and I really start thinking to myself, you know what, eh? We're the problem. We're the problem here, bro. And, you know, I love these arguments that I constantly see on social media. You know, we came from the south and the blacks came from the north, and, you know, no one is indigenous here except the Khoisan. That's bullshit, bro. Absolute bullshit. You know, if the black Africans that are in South Africa came from Central Africa, which continent were they on? Where did they start out? You know, and this is just a reality. You know what I'm saying? They were still in Africa and they moved south. We came across an ocean. You know, my ancestors were the 1820 settlers. So, you know, that entire argument is moot in my view. You know, and I believe this, you know. I am a South African. I was born here. I'm a South African. But if you want to go back in history, please understand that we colonized this place. You know, and if you can't understand that, then there's something wrong with you. You know? And so, as people that have come from somewhere else and are here now through birthright, you know, we have got no place to say the things that I heard said yesterday at this table. You know what I'm saying? It made me mental. But anyway, I just want to give you guys a little taste here. So, I grew up in you know, let me put it this way. My family, my grandfather was a civil servant. He worked for this country, right? But he was a civil servant in the apartheid regime, okay? So anyway, I got privilege, 100%. I'm not even going to deny it. I was privileged. And grew up privileged. But then God did something. God put me on a path where I was able to see those and work with those that were not privileged, you know, in Hillbrow. And then I got addicted to drugs and I lost all my privilege. And due to losing all my privilege, you know, I've never inherited anything. I've never been given anything. I've never received anything for nothing ever in my life. You know, yes, sure, people helped me in my addiction and gave me money to survive for a day. And some people came forward, like the dirt bike community came forward once and helped me go to rehab. And ultimately, it was that help that got me where I am today. But when I came out of rehab, after having nothing, I'd lost everything. Not that I had much to start with. When I became an addict in Hillbrow, I lived on the street literally. I had nothing, zero. But because of my privilege, I managed to get a good education, all right? And I'm able to speak relatively well, and I'm relatively of average intelligence. And so I was able to figure out certain things. And one of the things I figured out is that I could not function in society. I still battle to function in society. And the reason I battle to function in society, I'll tell you right now, is because I'm an empath. I worry about other people. I consider other people's feelings. And, that's something that addiction allowed me not to do. I was able to kill my conscience with drugs, right? And it enabled me to become a brutally brutal individual. But when I found myself in rehab the last time, having lost everything with nowhere to go, very little behind my name, a criminal history, this, that, all the rest, I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. And I sat and I spoke to God and I prayed to God and I said to God, please just do with me what you want, because I cannot function. I cannot function. I don't understand people. I don't understand how people think. I can't do this. And God took me down this road of helping people like myself, addicts, but particularly hardened, hardcore addicts, And I've been thrust on this path by God. I believe it 100%. Because let me tell you something. When I see what I saw yesterday, and I speak to people like I spoke to yesterday, I'll tell you something. I want to pack it up. I want to throw in the towel. Because I truly believe that there's no hope for humanity anymore. People are sitting at a table discussing their millions and their hundreds of thousands, and I show them what's going on in Hillbrow, and, they start making fun of those people, and they start making jokes with me. And trying to belittle and degrade me. First of all, because of my compassion for those people. Can you believe that? Trying to belittle and degrade me because of my compassion for the people there. And then try and belittle and degrade me continually because of my faith in God. Trying to make out like I'm some kind of retarded, backwater idiot. And when I hear this stuff and I see this stuff, it's demoralizing. And then this morning, I go onto social media, and all I see is people hating each other and people trying to make cases for why they're right. We're right because of this. You're wrong because of that. Your ancestors this. Your ancestors that. I saw a woman this morning say we must burn down the whole country so that everybody can be on the same economic playing field as the poor. And then they'll rebuild it. Listen, man. We were unable to rebuild this country with all the resources that were available in 1994. We've done nothing but tear it down. It is being torn down. Your wishes are coming to fruition. The reason you're poor is because the flipping country is being torn down. But I understand her frustration. Especially after what I witnessed yesterday. I understand her frustration. I get it. But that's not the solution. The solution is to build up, not tear down. You understand? But it is what it is. It is what it is. If I had a choice, let me tell you right now, I would get out of this field that I'm in now. Because all I see is pain and brokenness and destruction. And you know what, I look around me and I see people creating, opening recovery centers 30, 60, 80, 100,000 rand a month. Who are those rehabs for? Who are they for? Because let me tell you, they're not for the person that's flipping shooting heroin on the street. So I've made a commitment that one guy in the video, I'm going to go find that guy and I'm going to bring him to rehab. And I'm going to see if we can find any success with him. But I really feel like those of us that are trying to do something right here are losing the war because we're working and we're living and we're trying to do it alone. The people that are able to help just simply don't want to help. and just simply won't help. So, I don't know, guys. Guess I'm just frustrated today. Let me know what you think in the comments. Cheers.